Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be doing a full face using cream products. Now last week on Clubhouse with all things luxury beauty, I got to host and we were talking about cream blushes, and that just motivated me to go into my collection and start using more of my cream products, not just blushes, because it was already known that I'm a huge fan of cream blushes, but I wanted to kind of dabble more into other products that are not blushes and just kind of see how they perform together on me. I do have oily skin, so I wanted to see how these products would perform and how they look on me throughout the day. So a lot of what I'm going to actually show you guys today, I've been using for almost a week consistently, and overall they actually perform very nicely on me. Granted, I still get oily throughout the day, but if I just go in and do a little bit of touching up, when I say touching up, I honestly just blot. Maybe I'll powder a little bit, but usually I just go in and blot my T-zone and all is good. So I'm just really excited to be filming this video today and showing you guys products that I've just been truly enjoying recently and that I find work very, very well together. This is a little bit of a shop my stash slash get ready with me. I will be talking about a few things that I have not shown on my channel yet, but there is one new makeup release that I will be talking about a little bit more than everything else, and it's going to be this new palette from ROEN Beauty. It's their newest release called Mood Forever, and this is how that palette looks. Oh, it is quite dirty. I'm looking at the viewfinder, I'm like, wow, that does not look cute. So let's close that up. I've been using this for about a week, so it's gotten already a lot of love and I've had different experiences with it. So I'm going to talk to you guys about how I prefer to use that palette and how it performs best on me, somebody that does have oily eyelids. So yeah, before we get into the whole tutorial and all the products that I used for today's look, I did want to ask if you guys are new here to please subscribe to my channel. By the way, let me introduce myself. I am Susana and I really just like talking about makeup, you guys. That's the only reason why I'm here, is to talk makeup, to play with makeup, to apply my makeup. That is all. So of course, if you guys have any questions about any of the products that I mentioned, do let me know in the comments down below. But do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also go ahead and hit that like button because it does help boost my views and I would very much appreciate it. So okay guys, let's go ahead and do our makeup. So I just applied a little bit of my Tatcha, the Silk Canvas Primer. It's nice. It's not one of my favorites. When I first got it, I definitely liked it more than how I feel about it now, but that's because I actually like the liquid version much more than this one. I find that I have to be very careful with how much of this I actually pick up and apply. Otherwise it starts to kind of pill up and kind of causes like a mess around my face. But using just a little bit, I focused most of it like on my cheek area where I do need a little bit more smoothing to happen. So now to move on to foundation, I've really been liking this one from MAC. They reformulated their Studio Fix Tech Cream to Powder Foundation. The drawback on this one for me is that I picked up a shade that's too dark. This is in the shade NW25, which I'm really surprised at how deep this actually is for me, but you know, we're gonna work with it today. I'm gonna make sure to bring it down my neck so it doesn't look too crazy on me. So I'm just gonna use this a big old brush from BK Beauty. It's their number 105 brush. This might be for powder, but I actually like it for this foundation. I think it applies the product very quickly and seamlessly, so I've been enjoying it. Yeah, you guys can probably start telling a little bit how much deeper it is than my actual skin tone. Maybe in the summertime it'll suit me a little bit better, but honestly I should probably just pick up another lighter shade because I do like this very much, especially for when I'm in a rush. I think it's also a good one to travel with. I like the coverage, I love the finish of it. If I do go overboard with the application, it will look cakey, so I try not to apply too much. But for the most part, I really haven't had any issues with this foundation. So I'm actually gonna jump over to the eyes. So I'm gonna prime my lids first using my Fenty Beauty eye primer. And for the eyeshadow that I'm going to use today, I strongly recommend to use an eye primer, especially if you are like me and you have oily eyelids, because I am going to be working with some cream eyeshadows and they will crease. Now I do find that even with priming my eyes, there will be a little bit of creasing, but not nearly as much, and it's much more easier to manage. And I also find that with these specific eyeshadows, they actually perform a lot better, a lot more opaque, more vibrant, more shimmery if I apply it with my fingers. However, with applying it with my fingers means that I'm actually applying more product at once, and so it's a lot of product and it gives a lot of room for movement with these cream eyeshadows. So I find that it's actually easier and just better for my overall look if I just use a brush. So that's how I'm going to be using it today, which by the way, I haven't even told you guys what palette I'm using. So it's the new ROEN palette. This is called Mood Forever. I've been really enjoying my looks with it. Now, this is not going to be a palette that everybody's going to like. Again, it's a cream palette. There will be creasing. Unless you have dry eyelids, maybe you won't have as much creasing. I would still recommend to prep your eyes, apply some eye primer, just in case, you know, more for longevity purposes. But I find that even when this creases on me while using an eye primer, if I just go in with my finger and kind of dab over, it's a super easy fix. But I know a lot of people don't want to be bothered with that. So this is a palette that you'll have to be someone that is willing to allow some creasing to happen. If you like cream products, if you like a shimmery lid, especially if you really enjoy the wet look to the eyes, this you will very, very much like. So let me go ahead and demo to you guys. Actually, before I do that, let me show you guys some swatches of this palette. One of the eyeshadows here, which is this more kind of pearly shade, that is the only one that doesn't have any glitter. The other three eyeshadows do. Some are a little bit more intense than others. So I will be applying all four of these to show you guys today. And that is how they look swatched. I mean, they're so pretty. And if you want something like this on the lids, the only way I've figured out to do that is, again, if I apply it directly with my fingers. But one, it causes a little bit of a mess, especially because these are glittery shades. Like, they have a lot of shimmer to them. So if I use my fingers, I tend to take it out too far, and to clean up glitter from your face is super difficult. So that's also another reason why I prefer to use a brush when using these eyeshadows. I just have more control. I prefer the application. The finished look is still really, really pretty. And if I want to intense anything, I can go to specific areas with my finger and add a little bit more product for a little bit more intensity. So I'm dipping into this shade right here, and this is just gonna go right below the brow, so pretty much on the brow bone, and down close to the crease. This is definitely like the most boring shade on the palette, but I do appreciate it because I do feel that it's necessary for the brow bone. Like, if you're going to use so much shimmer on the lids, you definitely have to have something throughout the whole eye. So from the lash line up to the brow bone. So now I'm gonna go into this shade. I love this shade. It's a little taupey. It's like a very light taupey shade, but it has so much shimmer in it. I mean, it's glitter. I don't know why I don't like to use the word glitter. I guess because I think of like bigger glitters, whereas these are much smaller, so I call them shimmers. And this is going to go on the inner portion of the eyelid. And yeah, when using the brush, I do have to go back and forth a few times. Now with this shade here, I'll apply this on the outer portion of the lid. Now this shade, like, these two have a similar formula. This right here is the creamiest, the softest. This one, again, doesn't have any glitter or sparkles in it, but these two eyeshadows are definitely more chunkier, especially the deeper shade. So this shade is just gonna go out here. Then I'm gonna go with my finger with this shade here, just to add a little bit more intensity, like on the center of the lid here. All right, so now with the blender brush, I'm gonna go in with the deeper shade. And this is not going to add too much color here. It's just going to add a little bit of definition, which is what I feel that I need. I always need to define my crease. Even if I just throw on some mascara, I throw something into my crease. And it's subtle, but it looks good. Obviously, again, if you use this with your finger, you'll get more pigments out of it. So I can't finish off with the eyeshadow under my eyes until after I apply some concealer. So I'm going to move back to finishing off the face makeup. So I decided that I'm actually going to wait towards the end to apply my concealer once I'm done with my bronzer, my highlighter, and my blush. Just because I do tend to get a little bit carried away when I'm using cream products. I tend to over blend onto areas where I don't want, say, my bronzer in. So this way I can go in with my concealer and kind of clean up without having to go back and add more concealer over what I've already added. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do the concealer later. So let's move on to some bronzer. So I'm using the new Chanel Tan Deep Bronzer. One thing I totally forgot about this when I had talked about it in my last video is that this new formula does contain coconut oil. And I personally need to be very careful when I use products on my face that have coconut oil because they usually do break me out. So far, all has been good with this one, but I've been very careful to not use it too often. So I'm just letting you guys know because I did forget to mention that. Now using the same BK 105, right? Yeah, the 105 brush, I'm going to pick up some of this product here. I've really been enjoying this bronzer. Well, the few times that I've used it. The tone, although it is a red tone, I'm surprised at how much I've actually still been liking it anyway. And I think especially for like the summer months, this color isn't going to bother me as much. Like you see there, I brought it up too much. I just feel like for bronzers like this, like unless I'm contouring, like I don't need to be too perfect. And honestly, I don't even try that hard either when I'm contouring. So yeah, that just kind of is what it is. All right, so I'm gonna leave that mess there for, actually no, let me tap in this mess here just a little bit with my fingers. For blush, oh my gosh, you guys, this has been raved about so much, and I finally got my hands on one. This is from Peau. It is their cream blush. I have the shade in number 4. They only have 4 shades of these, and I want the other 3 now because the formula is beautiful. It looks so natural on the skin. It's like a neutral shade, so this will work with a lot of looks, and the longevity of this is phenomenal. So I'm going to use a brush to apply it. You can use your fingers, but well, for one, I have nails, so it's a little bit hard to get in there and pick up a good amount. And also, I think because of the formula, like it's such a thin cream formula that it applies rather sheer with my fingers. So for me to get the most out of this, it's just easier to use a brush. And I just kind of stipple it on. And I do kind of layer this just because I really wanted to show. I mean, I love the shade. Last week on Clubhouse, I host, right now I'm doing every other Thursday. So I hosted last week and we were talking about cream blushes. And several of the ladies on Clubhouse had already mentioned and raved about this blush. Like I had heard of it before, of course, but hearing them talk about it, I was like, I need to try it before I talk about the cream blushes for like my segment. And I actually got it in the day that I was hosting, and I fell in love with it like immediately. It is super pretty. I think the color is what really like kind of sealed the deal for me, but I've seen swatches of the other 3 shades and I really want them. So yeah, I'm totally planning on picking those up as soon as there's another sale. I'm gonna need them. I need them in my life. All right, so moving on to concealer. I have this one from Peau. This is a stick concealer and I use the shade Ocher. So I'm just gonna apply this directly under my eyes. And then I should use a brush to blend this in. It blends very nicely with the fingers, but I just feel like it takes way too long. And it also blends really nicely with a brush, so I might as well just use a brush. I'm going to use my Sisley powder. I think I have the shade, yeah, number 2, just to set my under eyes and my T-zone a tad bit. Just kind of feel like this perfects it. And with this powder, same with the Charlotte Tilbury, it won't look powdery. For highlight, I'm going to use this Merit Highlighting Balm. I have the shade Cava. I really like this. Like, it kind of goes with this eye look because the eyes almost look like they're wet. And this highlighter gives that type of finish, and I really like it. So this I usually do apply with my finger. So I'm just going to go around and apply it, and then with another finger I'll go in and blend. I just put a little bit on the forehead. I don't like to apply too much. But you see, it just looks so glossy. And then I'll just go in and blend. I actually meant to apply this before I applied my powder, but I didn't go heavy with the powder out here anyway, so it should be fine. This is a product that if you like that glass look, this one you'll really, really enjoy. All right, so there's that. Okay, so I guess now we can finish off with the eye makeup and then the lips. I'm gonna go into this lighter shade here with this brush and apply some in the inner corner of my eyes. Just to add a little bit of brightness there. It doesn't add too much, but it does make a little bit of a difference. A lot of times I go in with my highlighter, but that mirror highlighter, I don't really like to use that here in the inner corner. Yeah, so I'm gonna wet that off because I'm gonna go back into this deeper shade just to add a little something here in the bottom lash line. So I'm gonna run this all the way through. And again, this is more for definition than like color payoff because it's very light in color. You don't see too much there. I'm going to add a little bit of gel liner. This is from Bobbi Brown in the shade Espresso Ink. So it's a deep brown shade. And I'm actually going to, this is a little dirty, but I actually used it with this. So I'm going to have a small pencil brush handy so that after I apply this, I can easily go back and do a little bit of a blending just so it doesn't look too harsh. Okay, so I'm going to soften this liner up a little bit. Very lightly going against the lashes. And honestly, there isn't much product left here, so it's perfect. Okay, I'm going to use my Jones Road mascara. I'm just going to apply one coat. So finishing off with lips, I do have these 2 lip palettes from the brand Rouge, R-O-U-J-E. I've had these for a while, I mean a long time at this point, and I don't think I've ever shown them on my channel. These are really, really pretty. So the first one I have is 01, which is a signature. I think we'll be using this one today. This other one I've actually been using the last 2 days. It's so beautiful. It's full of like vibrant pink shades. This is number 2 Chaleur, C-H-A-L-E-U-R. The pigment is perfect. The longevity is there. Yes, it transfers, but it transfers very minimally. So the longevity of the actual pigment on your lips looks really good and even. And once it does start fading, it ends up leaving an even stain on your lips after wearing it for several hours. So this is just a really, really beautiful formula. I think they also have like bullet lipsticks. I haven't tried any of those. I've just really been enjoying these. I don't want to go too dark, so I guess I'll just go in with this shade right here, kind of play it safe. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this with my finger because I just don't have patience to apply lipstick with a brush. And this is the lightest shade that's in both palettes. And these you can also use on your cheeks and on your eyes. I don't think I've ever used them on my eyes, but I have used them on my cheeks. Super pretty. I feel like I picked like the most boring color to share with you guys with this palette. Maybe I should apply a little bit of this red. If anything, I should have done this one first. I just want you guys to see more color. Oh, that made a nice shade there. Look at me. Oh, I love that lipstick shade. All right, so this is the final look using all cream products. If anybody's been interested or eyeing any of these products, I do think that they are worth it. They look so good on the skin. My skin right now just looks really pretty. It looks glowy, but not like overly glowy. It's just perfection for me. Now, this is a look that I'll definitely wear out for lunch, especially for like brunch, because it's kind of fun, but it's not too much. It definitely doesn't look heavy on the skin. So yeah, this is just a look that I've been really enjoying, products that I've really been enjoying, and then I wanted to share with you guys. So I hope you all enjoyed this little get ready with me, kind of shop my stash style of video. If you did, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe if you have not yet so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.